U.S. Senator Kyrsten Sinema is an independent who was previously a Democrat, and she's often critical of her former party. But after Senate Republicans took the lead from former President Donald Trump and killed a bipartisan border deal that they helped negotiate, she had this to say from the Senate floor.
Less than 24 hours after we released the bill, my Republican colleagues changed their minds. Turns out they want all talk and no action. It turns out border security is not actually a risk to our national security. It's just a talking point for the election. After all of their cable news appearances, after all those campaign photo ops in the desert, after all those trips to the border, this crisis isn't actually much of a crisis after all. Sunday morning, there was a real crisis at the border. Monday morning, that crisis magically disappeared. Well, guess what, guys? The crisis is real.
Senator Kyrsten Sinema joins me now from Capitol Hill in Washington. Senator, thanks so much for making time to be here with us today. We're glad to have you on. We just heard that clip from your floor speech last week after Senate Republicans tanked what the Wall Street Journal argued was the most conservative immigration legislation they'd had before them in years. It was legislation they demanded be attached to any foreign aid. And they did this largely in part because the former president told them to, and he wants to make it a campaign issue. When you watch that clip, you're clearly frustrated. And in the past, you've bucked your former party, the Democrats. In this case, you took the Republicans to task. Do you ever feel like the Senate's just broken?
You know, Jessica, first of all, it's good to be with you. And, you know, that's a very honest and direct question, and I'll give you an honest and direct answer. Right now, the United States Senate has demonstrated that it's not interested in being a serious body. You know, 5 months ago, when my Republican colleagues said that the border crisis was top of mind for national security and must be addressed in order to tackle our obligations to Ukraine and Israel and Taiwan, I agreed. I said, that's right, this is a national security crisis. And that's why for nearly 5 months, I worked with Senator James Lankford and Senator Chris Murphy to create, as you said, what the Wall Street Journal has indicated is the strictest migration policy in decades. So it was incredibly disappointing to see my colleagues change their mind and say, actually, we would like to keep this. We'd like to keep this crisis as a talking point for the election. And the reality is that is exactly what they will do. But meanwhile, Jessica, my state is dealing with this unmitigated crisis every day, with over 7,000 people crossing into our country every day. It's a fact that this crisis still remains and that my colleagues have decided they don't want to solve the problem.
And you've said it before, you just said it a few minutes ago, you see this as a national security crisis. So what happens now?
Well, my colleagues have decided to do nothing about this. So the national security crisis will remain and it could exacerbate. You know, we know that right now, many of the people who are crossing into this country are not asylees. They are economic migrants seeking work. But a handful of these individuals, every week or so, are actually bad guys. These are folks with gang affiliations from their home countries. Some of them are known terrorist suspects. These are individuals who present a real and ongoing threat to our national security. And my colleagues have decided to do nothing about that. That's unfortunate, and it's dangerous for us here in America.
And so let's talk about this foreign aid package for Ukraine and Israel and Taiwan that's now been separated out from the legislation you all had crafted and now is standing on its own. What does it say to you that many in the Republican Party, which has long been seen as a party that is strong on national security, Mitch McConnell, of course, has advocated for aid to Ukraine, that there is such a split among Senate Republicans on this foreign aid?
Well, the reality is the package that we're considering right now is a serious package that provides critical and necessary ammunitions, weapons, and aid to countries like Ukraine, who are fighting against Putin's illegal overreach. Countries like Israel, fighting against the horrific terrorism by Hamas and their allies, of course, backed by Iran. And of course, supporting Taiwan, that is facing an ever-growing threat from China. We must continue to provide this support to our allies worldwide from the axis of evil that seeks to destabilize democracy, invade other countries, and destabilize our entire world. Now, Jessica, as you mentioned, there is a big split between the Republican conference in the Senate on whether or not to support this package. It's unfortunate that many of my colleagues have decided to pursue isolationism as a national strategic objective. We know that that is not a realistic objective. The United States is the greatest superpower in the world, and we owe it not only to our own security, but to our allies across the world to ensure that thugs like Putin, the leaders of Iran, Hamas, and China don't get to continue their powers of aggression against other countries around the globe.
And to that end, we had the former president speak out and effectively convince Republicans to kill your bipartisan border bill. Now he's speaking out yet again against all foreign aid. He doesn't want to give any unless it's a loan, he says. And we're seeing he seems to just be against compromise of any kind. You are somebody that likes to do bipartisan legislation and likes to work across the aisle. Going forward, do you think it will be possible to continue to do something like that? Can someone like you be successful in the Senate in building those coalitions?
Well, you know, I served my first several years in the Senate when Donald Trump was president, and I was successful in forging bipartisan compromises and getting things done during that time. So I can certainly do that again. The reality is, however, that each senator, regardless of the candidates for president, each senator has a duty to make up his or her own mind and to make their own decisions. Now, some have suggested over the last week or so that senators have chosen not to make their own decisions and instead just do what one candidate says. But you know, Jessica, I don't think we can let people off the hook that easily. Senators are elected by their constituents to serve their state and their country, and each of us has a duty to be accountable for our decisions. You cannot shove off your decision making to one candidate or another. You cannot say, well, my president wants this or my candidate for president wants that. We are all responsible for our own decisions, and we are responsible to the voters of our state. So I reject the premise that folks are just doing what they're told. We have a duty to do what is right for our state and for our country. And I would encourage my colleagues to do just that, regardless of their party affiliation.
It just seems like they're just very afraid of the former president.
Well, look, everyone gets to make their own choice about who they'll be accountable to. But when you take the oath of office, you take the oath of office to be accountable to your country, to be a patriot first, and of course, to stand up for the interests of your state and your constituents. I'm proud to say that that's what I do every day, and I hope that all of my colleagues would choose to make that same commitment to our Constitution and to their state.
And looking ahead, Senator Sinema, it appears like this foreign aid bill is going to pass out of the Senate, but the looming question is then what happens in the House? And I know you served in the House before you went to the Senate. We've seen kind of some unprecedented dysfunction from the House this year. Are you in touch at all? I know during the immigration negotiations you were talking to House Speaker Mike Johnson. Are you talking to them at all about this foreign aid bill? Are you in touch with any Republican leadership over there?
I am working with my colleagues in the House of both parties to help them prepare for when the legislation passes the Senate. As you know, this legislation currently enjoys the support of 18 Senate Republicans. That number could grow as we finish the package this week. And I am speaking with my colleagues, again, both Republicans and Democrats, patriots, all of them, about how to pass this package through the United States House of Representatives. Jessica, as you've noticed, and if you've noted, the House is incredibly dysfunctional right now. But I believe that there are enough patriots serving in the United States House of Representatives that together they will overcome the partisanship and dysfunction and stand up for America's national security interests by standing and defending democratic nations in other countries.
All right, we'll see how it goes. Senator Kyrsten Sinema, thanks again for joining us today. We sure do appreciate it.
Great to be with you.